Welcome back once again to the Pitlane Pals Formula One podcast. This weekend, the 2024 Formula season is over. It's over, and I don't know what to do with myself anymore.
Me
Besides,
neither.
I would be interested in driver moves, but it seems like everything's pretty set for next year. We just gotta wait for the livery reveals come February, I guess. Really, probably February, maybe late January. But I'm gonna be deprived. In the meantime, though, we have some things to talk about before we have to start scrapping for anything to talk about every week. But right now, we can talk about the fact that McLaren are 2024 constructors champions officially. Now, we did kind of know this is where this was going to go until the first lap of the 2024 Abu Dhabi Grand Prix, because Oscar Piastri got ran into by Max Verstappen coming into the first corner. And when that happened, there was a moment there where I was like, damn, McLaren's going to lose both championships.
I know, right?
Because
It had me stressing.
I was like, there's no way in hell Lando first lap fumble Norris is going to maintain first throughout this entire race to keep the constructors. But he did it. He drove a brilliant drive. I mean, that might be the best drive of the season for Lando, honestly. I think with the most
Honestly, yeah.
most at stake he's had all year. There was no weird safety cars that benefited him. There was no fuck ups from Ferrari, really. They actually drove a brilliant race in the Ferrari garage. Man, I'm going British. I just said garage. But no, I there was no fuck ups from them. There was nothing that helped necessarily. Unluckily, Lando, he just drove a good race. His pace was strong the whole time. No fuck ups. There was no, like, even when we were in Singapore and he kind of like almost kept crashing every 2 seconds, and everyone was like, "Dude, what are you doing? Like, stop." There was none of that. There was none of that. He was just on his A game the entire race, and with the pressure on, Piastri not guaranteed to get any points. Really, basically didn't. I mean, he got one, which was also an impressive recovery drive. But man, great drive from Lando to keep it up front of Sainz, and the quick Ferraris that weekend that were definitely competitive. He managed to keep him behind, and flowers where they're due. I'll give some flowers out.
Oh no.
Get some flowers to give out for the season too.
Don't give some flowers out, bro. Please. No, amazing race. Honestly, amazing race. And sadly, I couldn't actually watch the whole thing. I was with my girlfriend at home, and we were celebrating their birthday, and we were at brunch while the race was going on. And I was like, okay, he'll be fine. I mean, Piastri, Norris, 1-2, they'll get it, no issues. And then like after like 20 or like 25 laps, I look at some pictures that my dad sent me because he always then keeps me up to date. And he sent me a video, first video being the opening lap, and I just see Max Verstappen and the Piastri situation. I'm like, oh my God, are we actually going to lose this? And I was terrified. Like, I was scared. I just thought, oh my God, this cannot be. This cannot be. But then obviously saw, okay, Lando was leading, and I was able to watch the last few laps. And I just, honestly, I had this in my mind with Singapore. I was like, dude, Lando, please do not bottle it.
Yeah.
Please, for the love of God. I was terrified, but the feeling as he crossed the line.
Ooh. 2024 Constructors Champions. Of course, we here at the Pitlane Pals Formula One podcast are McLaren fans, admittedly. And we usually do try to keep our bias to a minimum, but we both are definitely very happy. I mean, if you would have told me at the beginning of the 2022 season when the regulations first started that we would be Constructors Champions in 2 years' time with the way that car looked, absolutely not. Think about 2023 beginning of the year. Like they were literally at the back of the grid. They were at the back of the grid.
2023. Yeah, 2023 was actually really tough.
We started Bahrain literally. I believe if not for DNFs or whatever, the dead last back 2 cars, and for them to be where they are now is very impressive, especially considering, I mean, again, there was that trajectory upwards very rapidly. Remember Silverstone 2023, Lando Norris bleeds the British Grand Prix. was like the craziest thing to hear after the beginning of that season. And then they kind of fell back a little bit to Red Bull at the beginning of the year. They did not look like they were the quickest car for the first few races.
Yeah.
But they bounced back, and kudos to all those at the McLaren pit wall and everyone back at the factory. I mean, genuinely, like, props to them. They just a brilliant drive
Give them some flowers,
for
mate. It's okay.
Lando. I'm gonna give them some flowers. Give them some
Give them some
flowers.
flowers.
And
Send them some flowers.
yeah, no, just awesome to see. Again, it's the first one since before Lando. Lando was like a baby, first year born, and Oscar Piastri was not even born yet. So just put that into perspective for you. Yeah, no, just been a long time.
It's insane. It's insane, and you can't forget, like, F1 actually posted on this. After the 2023 Saudi Arabia GP, McLaren literally didn't have any points, 0. Like they didn't have a singular point, and
Yeah.
I feel like you have to look back at this year, especially with what has been going on with the actual championship fight, and within a lot of criticism towards Norris. I actually realized that McLaren did a massive jump. They weren't the fastest car from the beginning, but when they were, they delivered the way they had to. And obviously, I mean, I'm not going to defend Norris and say he didn't bottle the starts. I'm not going to sit here and say if this would be someone else, they wouldn't have been world champion. I'll actually say, okay, he could have been world champion this year, 100%, no question. But as a team, also with Piastri, 100% season, he does not have a singular DNF. That's incredible.
Yeah.
You just
Actually, the
like,
McLaren
even
team as a
if you
whole does not have a single DNF. Lando didn't do every single lap, but I believe because of the way what's counted as a DNF is that the McLaren team, according to ESPN on F1 on their like Twitter page, they are the first team to finish with 0 DNFs in a long time at least.
yeah,
And
yeah.
so there's that. So very impressive again, just from the whole team. And I think another thing to add on to that with like where the drivers, the quality of drivers we have right now, and then that may change a little bit next year because we have a lot of rookies coming in. But the quality of drivers right now and the quality of cars and the peak engineering that we have is a testament to not only that stat existing, but also for the first time in the history of the sport, Pierre Gasly is the first driver to not get a single dollar of damage done on his
Oh
account.
yeah.
Can we talk
Oh my
about
God,
Pierre
yes.
Gasly? Finished 10th in the championship. Managed to help bring Alpine to finish above Haas and the RBs at the end of the year there with that final push.
This guy peaked.
Mhm.
Honestly, these last few races, I don't know what got into him, but like he was flying.
Dude, I know. He's been good.
It's
And I mean
incredible.
Ocon was good too before he got you know, released. But he'll be fine at Haas. But I think there's a reason that, despite, yes, Ocon may be the most recent race winner for Alpine and might have finished higher in that that double podium finish they had and everything like that. I think ultimately Pierre has proven to me that he was the better driver this year. Again, just looking at the standings, Pierre Gasly has 42 points, Esteban Ocon has 23. So that one performance was really all Ocon had all year. Pierre has had a few races this year, several, where you've been like, he's getting every ounce of anything that exists in that shitbox of a boat.
Yeah.
And so I just kudos to Pierre Gasly. I really like, he's one of those guys that like you would have never. It kind of he's like a big example of like don't give up on a driver too easily because he struggled at Red Bull and got dropped right away because of reliability and being and putting the car in the wall and just not being there, not being able to get across the finish line. Gets dropped for Albon, goes back to AlphaTauri, and then gets a win in the AlphaTauri. Performs very strongly there against Yuki for a couple of years, and then goes to Alpine and has been solid there too against a decent teammate in Esteban Ocon. I mean, just a very underappreciated driver. I'd like to see him in more competitive machinery again one day. I think he's to prove that he deserves
Yeah.
another shot at the front of the grid and not just use his one example of him in the Red Bull years ago. I'd like to see
Yeah.
him, like,
Yeah.
if a good seat opens up somewhere. It's a little tricky right now. I don't know where it would happen, but he deserves another shot somewhere one day in a competitive car.
Yeah. I
And
agree.
we know
I
Alpine's
agree.
not going to build it.
I mean,
I'm just kidding. Maybe this year. I mean, they got better at the end of the year, all things considered.
they built an amazing boat,
They
as we
built an
said.
amazing boat. For sure.
No, it's true. Currently, it's a bit of a hectic situation on the driver market, especially now with the upcoming Paris move at this point. I know we got some slack for this on TikTok and on Instagram
Yes.
for it not being released yet. And sure, okay, there's nothing on this yet, but like I'm pretty sure there will be a move
I will
happening.
say there
in
was
short.
some reports then contradicting that afterwards, saying like, "Oh, this may not be officially official. We don't know." Just some statements of people being like, "There is a world where that doesn't happen." Um, but yes, it was not official. But I did say
Yeah.
pretty much official. Those were important words. Those words pretty much
Yours
were
were yeah,
important.
exactly. Your words were literally saying like
It's pretty
it's
much
pretty
officially fine.
much
I'm not gonna
official at
beat
this
around the
point.
bush.
And then the
I
comments
don't.
are like,
Yeah.
it's actually not official yet. What are you guys talking about? Either way.
It's fine. It's
Either way.
fine.
It's
Um,
okay. It's
I
okay.
apologize
Happens.
for jumping the gun per se. But either way, I think we know what's gonna happen there. I think we know what's gonna happen with that, and it seems like Liam Lawson's gonna get the seat. And I have a few thoughts.
Okay.
I think the one thing to me is that if not Yuki, not Liam either. I think there was drivers out there this year that you could have gone after that deserve that seat more than Liam Lawson. Why didn't you pursue Carlos Sainz? You know what I mean? It's like
True.
Liam Lawson really, I mean, yes, he was impressive out the gate in both seasons. He's been competitive out the gate in both seasons. He has not proven to me that he deserves that Red Bull seat any more than Yuki Tsunoda, let alone anybody else that was available. What about, honestly, from the bottom of my heart, you know who knows how to play a good teammate role to a world champion?
Bottas.
Bottas.
Yep.
How about you sign him on like a 1 or 2 year deal and you let Yuki and Liam Lawson battle out for 1 or 2 years? I don't know. Again, I'm not that worried for Yuki because I know wherever Honda goes is probably where he's going to go. And I think there is a world where if I think that'll line up one day. I think there is or
Yeah.
Toyota even. Maybe at a
Me
Haas
too.
one day now that Toyota's back in the sport. Both of those are possibilities. And so I just think that he'll be fine. I'm not saying that it's because I'm a Yuki fan. I mean, I'm a little upset for Yuki. If I'm Yuki, I'm fucking pissed. I'm sorry. But Liam Lawson over he hasn't done anything to me to prove that he deserves the seat. And I think because of that, maybe they sit on it. I don't know. There is reports that maybe they're not super sure about getting rid of Perez, but then I was like, I'd take Lawson over Perez, don't get me wrong, but it's like,
Yeah.
what has he done to deserve that?
Lawson not signed because the Pitlane Pals do not agree.
A headline
I
incoming.
I get your point. I mean, Lawson came in, and I think he showed a bit of what he's capable of. At the same time, there are also quite some fuck ups in the races. He's especially stepped on some foot in this big sister team, which is just like a bit difficult. And also qualifying wise, Yuki pretty much fully took the crown. Race wise, it was a bit closer, but still Yuki won. And it's just a bit difficult. Like it's this Red Bull seat situation is just. I feel like for Carlos Sainz, the signing with Williams came a bit too early in the season. I feel like that was just like so done and dusted before Paris was actually set. Set. It's not official yet. Don't start typing. Everything's okay. Before Paris was kind of towards maybe leaving Red Bull.
Yeah.
You know, before these rumors even started, Sainz already signed with Williams. I'm just scared that this is going to be like a Ricardo downfall, kind of in a way. I don't think so. I would say Sainz is a bit more skilled than Ricardo. At the
Oh,
same
yeah.
time, I don't really know
I
about
don't.
that, but like,
Granted, I'm saying all this, and I don't think Ricardo deserved that seat any more than Lawson or Sonoda either. Um, if
true.
Ricardo got promoted, I'd be more mad personally. I know people like Ricardo, but
It
he
wouldn't
has
make
not done
sense.
anything to deserve that seat either. Because the difference between Lawson and Ricardo is that yes, I don't think Lawson's done anything to prove it, but
Hmm.
Ricardo's fully done things to disprove it. He was just bad. Like he just wasn't performing at all. Lawson has been performing at an okay level this early in his career, but are we promoting him too early? Are we again jumping into this boat where again you're gonna have Pierre Gasly situation, Alex Albon situation, they get boosted up too quickly? I just don't
Yeah.
see the logic behind that decision. And again, doesn't matter what I think, but and I like Lawson. I really want to like Lawson, but Yuki to me seems like the safer choice because Yuki has been consistent and he has the experience now. He has the experience. He never complained when he was behind Pierre. I honestly I don't know if he complained behind Max. Uh, and he's been in F1 for a while now. Honestly, it seems like we treat him like he's still so young, but he's been here for a minute. And
Sure.
um
Sure.
I don't see why you don't give Yuki a year at this point.
I honestly agree with you.
I just
Like
don't
it's,
get it.
I mean, a few episodes ago, and I don't know, I don't really stand by that too much anymore. But I did say I would prefer to have Lawson in the Red Bull cockpit.
Mm-hmm.
And now just thinking back, especially across the whole season, the past few seasons, it's just there must be something. There must be a reason why Red Bull does not want to sign Yuki
There
Tsunoda.
has to be
And
something. Like,
I can't think of it being something with sponsor money.
well, so
That can't be the case,
what
right?
I was thinking, and well, not what I was thinking, but this is something I've agreed with a little bit, is that a lot of people have mentioned the fact that yes, Yuki was probably a Honda signing largely when he first came up. It was probably a way to please Honda. Um, and because Honda's leaving, they're just trying to keep him around because he's not hurting anybody and he keeps Honda happy while they're still there. But now that they're leaving, they just don't see a reason to keep him around any longer. Or at least any more seriously, and give him that Red Bull seat. And like maybe it is just like this wasn't the driver we wanted in F1 in the first place. It was to please you. Like there could be some weird thing going on there because again, there is a national connection. But to me, what doesn't make sense is there is a huge Japanese Formula One fan base out there. Every time we go to Suzuka and we see these insane fans with these crazy costumes and outfits, and they're super into it. It's awesome, and there has to be a
Like a
market
fun
out
moment.
there for Yuki Tsunoda in a Red Bull seat. There has to be, and so I just don't understand what's going on that they don't like Yuki. And honestly, Yuki's ability to not complain about it as he's barely. I mean, he's just kind of said like I'm keeping my hopes up. That's impressive to me.
I'm
I
We'll see.
I'd be
We'll see.
annoyed.
I don't think Lawson is confirmed either yet. I think it's still very much open to play for. I feel like the statistics are definitely on Yuki's side. Um,
But yeah,
yeah.
the
But
reports don't seem
I
to
think
be.
Hajar coming into RB is definitely confirmed. That will be happening.
Yeah.
Um, I saw a post. Pretty sure this is not true. Would make like literally zero sense if this were to be true. That Red Bull is now skipping over Lawson or Tsunoda and just choosing Hajar for the Red Bull seat, which is just that can't be. Respectfully,
Yeah.
I feel like that's like in a dimension where Liam versus Yuki is the decision. Deciding to take Hajar is like fully off the books.
Fully.
Like that's just
Again, I don't think that it'd be that crazy if the Visa Cash App Racing Bulls team didn't exist in the first place. But
true.
because they have that ability to put a driver and you have two experienced kind of ones in your team, you might as well take them. So that wouldn't make any sense. If it was like Mercedes, I'd be like, yeah, sure, that makes sense. You know, like they're taking Kimi Antonelli because they only have one team, as they probably all should only have one team. But that isn't.
Yeah,
We've talked
yeah,
about that
yeah.
before, and I will let it rest. I
As we're
won't.
talking, oh,
I was gonna say I won't stick on that topic too long overall, like with the whole Red Bull seats. We talked a lot about that. But again, I think officially my stance would be I think Yuki deserves it. I don't think he'll get it. But I think the fact that Lawson is getting it preemptively is a bit confusing and concerning in my eyes.
I agree with you. And as we're kind of now in the Red Bull topic, I thought I'll just get the random facts going because most of them are about Perez, anyways, to kind of put into contrast why Perez actually should be leaving this team. First of all, number one is Red Bull has led a combined 504 laps this season. Max Verstappen, led 503 of them. Sergio Perez led one. Just throw that there. Next one, Perez is 277 points behind Verstappen, meaning the difference between him and Verstappen is greater than the combined difference between every other teammate pairing, which would be 254. Again, these guys are worlds apart. Here we have a total laps led since Abu Dhabi 2023. Verstappen 632, Tsunoda 5, and Perez 1. Lastly, since the 2022 Singapore GP, Verstappen has won more championships, 3, than Perez has won races. And one more here. If Max Verstappen scores at least 10.5 points more than Sergio Perez in Abu Dhabi, which I believe he did, I do think so, Verstappen would have scored twice as many points as Perez in the past 4 years. Twice.
Wow. Can I add one more on there?
Send it, mate.
In Lewis Hamilton's last race for McLaren before he went to Mercedes, Sergio Perez DNF'd. In Lewis Hamilton's last race for Mercedes going to Ferrari, Sergio Perez DNF'd. Just wanted to throw that in there. Some things never change.
Verstappen only scored 8 points. So he barely, by 2.5 points, actually missed scoring double the amount of points than Perez in the last 4 years.
Still, the fact that it's even a fucking conversation is a bit insane.
It's incredible.
Yeah, I think he needs to go at the end of the day. I just think it's a little unfortunate for Yuki. He's played the long game there, and I think he deserves a shot.
Yeah,
I think there's better drivers in the grid. At least anybody, honestly. Again, it's just like it's not that I dislike Liam. I just don't think he fully deserves that seat quite yet. Another thing that is going to be interesting to discuss really quick is there was also another there was an F2 race obviously that weekend in Abu Dhabi, which concluded the Formula 2 championship, and our friend of the show, Jake Puddick, who is an engineer and mechanic for Invicta Racing, their driver Gabriel Bortoleto is the 2024 Formula 2 champion. So just sending our congratulations that way. And Gabriel will be racing for Sauber next year alongside Nico Hülkenberg. So I'm excited to see that, and I think he is a young, promising driver. Now, did you see, though, how it happened?
I did not see that, but I did want to quickly just nick in that Invicta also won the Constructors Championship, which is also really, really amazing.
Yes, forgot to mention
Either
that.
way.
So congrats to you, Jake, and Invicta. I just wanted to mention that because I think sometimes we don't talk enough about F2 and just, had to get it out there. But Gabriel won the championship because he was leading anyways. Yeah. But Isaac Hadjar, the Red Bull Junior driver, who we were just talking about earlier, stalled off the line and lost the
Ridiculous.
championship because of that. Isn't that crazy? I woke up because the races for F2 are a little early for me to be able to catch, admittedly, often. And so I wake up and I see this report. It's like the championship is over. Isaac Hadjar is stalled off the line. I'm like, what? He stalled off the line? That is, well, I am beyond ecstatic for Invicta and Gabriel. Damn, that sucks.
I feel like it's the most human way to lose a championship.
Uh-huh.
Like when the pressure boils up, first thing you have to do in the race, the
The
start,
start.
just bottled fully.
Stalled up the
Ah.
line. That is absolutely gut wrenching for him. But still, congrats to him. And he may have a seat lined up in the near future at Red Bull or at the Visa Cash App Racing Bulls. Admittedly, so excited to see. Esteban Ocon was not allowed to drive and was dropped by Alpine for the final race of the 2024 season. Jack Doohan took over. Did not necessarily impress me at all. But didn't expect anything super crazy from him. It's the last race of the season at not the easiest track in the world either. So I'm not like, judging him harshly on that. It still is like interesting for Alpine to get rid of him when they did. There's conversations about that. But this weekend there was test done, so he was able to drive for Haas in the postseason test. And there's tests being done, I should say. I think they're still actively going on. We saw Williams drive with Sainz this weekend a bit. Ocon should be in the Haas soon, if not already at this point of recording. I'm not sure. And so in general, just interesting. A lot of new driver moves next year. I'm excited to see. I will actually note, because we were talking about the Red Bull thing earlier, Yuki Tsunoda is getting the post-race seat, the test in the Red Bull. So they might be waiting to see how he does in the Red Bull. Honestly, that is a possibility. A note that I did not make. He's going to be doing the Red Bull postseason test, while Lawson will be in the RB. Just something to note that could play a factor. If he kills it and puts in some good lap times, they might love him. Who knows?
Yeah. I feel like we should talk about Sainz a bit.
Yeah.
Because I feel like Sainz and Ferrari, it's just been something that it's been going hand in hand. Just like, for me, Ferrari, at least the past few years, has actually been Leclerc and Sainz. Like, these two have been an amazing pairing. They've been amazing teammates. Almost no actual issues between the two. Obviously, at the end, it got a bit difficult, but I feel like they were a pretty good pairing, and they were a close pairing. You want to say something?
Yeah, that extends to a lot of the moves this offseason. And because I guess going into this year, I really liked the way the drivers looked. Like, every team kind of had its identity, I think.
Yeah.
The Ferrari boys, they made sense together. The Mercedes boys made sense together. The Red Bull boys, while Perez wasn't great, for some reason it kind of worked in my brain. Like, it just fit. Like, I don't know why. McLaren definitely 100% has their guys that just fit their entire personality of that team. The younger
And the car.
Yep, 100%. Even down the lower in the grid, like the Haas, Kevin Magnussen and Nico Hulkenberg, that made sense together for me. Like, just the two old guys on like the hunt for the one chance at a podium. Granted, Kevin Magnussen obviously has one, but like, just their chance for success once more in that fucking Haas, or and then even who am I thinking of? The Aston Martin guys. Like, it just kind of made sense. Like, there's daddy's money over there. They got the one veteran driver and the young kid who does not deserve his seat but is like bitchy about it. That just fit too. Like, it all just fits so well to me in this perfect little like storybook, and it's all kind of coming apart now. Carlos Sainz is in a Williams. That does not feel right to me at all.
I feel like it feels better than Ocon and Haas.
Yes. Oh, that was another thing. Alpine worked really well too, because they had two Frenchmen in the French team.
Yeah.
That made it was all perfect. It was all so perfect. It's long ago. What's that thing? I don't watch the show, but Avatar. Like long ago, the four elements lived together in harmony.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then the Fire Nation
The
attacked.
Four Nations and then the Fire
That's
Nation
Lewis
attack.
Hamilton attacking by going to Ferrari and shaking up the entire grid.
Whoa!
It's shaking up the entire. Lewis Hamilton made so much sense in a Mercedes, and we talked a little bit about that last episode as well. But like Sainz made sense in the Ferrari; they worked well. Honestly, I don't know how I loved like George Russell and Hamilton together, but it did fit because they were both kind of very classy British.
Mercedes, though.
Russell does, and so does Hamilton. Together, they felt a little weird, but they both individually fit Mercedes. That's kind of where I'm going. They both Mercedes kind of has that like very classy British, old money kind of feel to them, and that's what the vibe both of them kind of gave off. It just worked. It worked, and that's all. It's all ruined now. It's all ruined.
I feel like talking about ruined, we have to kind of get into the more emotional factor of all of this.
Of course.
Because I feel like there was obviously after the race on the cooldown laps, you could see how frustrated Charles was. And as happy as I was for McLaren and as ecstatic it was to be winning this championship, I just felt so bad. Like I feel like obviously it's important to win the championship, but I feel like there was like an actual big part of Leclerc that just really wanted this to happen with Sainz. And you could see how frustrated he was. Like they did pretty much everything they could.
I can't
in Abu
tell.
Dhabi.
Again, I don't know these guys personally, but I can't tell how Leclerc feels about Sainz though. Like it's weird. Their relationship confuses me a little bit, and I can't really like put it together.
I think he actually even said on the radio that it would have been special to win this one with Carlos.
Yeah.
And there was also this very, very sad video kind of Ferrari made like this special video for Carlos as like a goodbye, and he started crying during watching the video.
Yeah.
And I think it's just very emotional. It's very, very emotional. And there was this goodbye message of like come back soon or something. Did you see that?
No, I did not.
Yeah.
That's sad though. I think that it is weird. It's one of those things where it's like I'm not happy about either side of this. I'm not happy that Sainz has to leave Ferrari, and I'm not happy that Lewis has to leave Mercedes of that turnaround. I don't like either of those. I get it. Lewis wants to be the Ferrari driver, as every legend does. And that's one thing he hasn't done yet, really in his career. Otherwise, he's checked it all off. But I do think it's unfortunate. I kind of, again, I just like one more with Mercedes would have been poetic. Sainz and Leclerc pulling it off together would have been poetic. But now it's kind of like it's artificial. It's not as natural for either of those teams. Lewis leaving Mercedes is crazy.
That was also very sad.
That feels like a retirement. It's weird. Like it feels like a retirement
It
send-off.
does feel a bit like it. It does feel a bit like it. And Toto Wolff came on the radio at the end and said to Hamilton that he's always going to be part of the Mercedes family.
He also said, if you can't win with us, you should do it.
You should go and win for yourself.
And props. Yeah. It's like I rooted so towards the end of that Mercedes stint. I wanted Max to be champion over Lewis so badly, which is funny looking back at. But there is just something I don't think there's never been a better driver team pairing in the history of the sport. In my opinion, I don't think any driver team pairing is going to leave that much of a legacy other than maybe Schumacher Ferrari, but it's close, and I don't know. Schumacher is more of an individual thing for me, and Ferrari's more of a standalone thing. Mercedes and Lewis built their careers, their legacy together. I think it's a bit different.
Yeah. Yeah.
And in that
I think the start really makes the difference because Lewis joined Mercedes as they weren't really as competitive, and he came from McLaren.
What are you doing?
So
it was like, what are you doing? Like you're leaving McLaren for Mercedes?
Exactly.
That was an insane move.
It felt like the story of leaving the big team and leaving the big fields to go and play in a small village for a small football club, and then with that football club they go ahead and they win the world championship 8 times constructors. 7 times drivers.
It's insane. And there's just so many like good moments with Lewis. Like Lewis is just one of those guys that I will always be happy for. That he
Yeah.
really deserves what he has. Again, because a lot of F1 drivers come from a lot. He didn't. Didn't come from much. And really, like, throughout his career has always been that sentiment of like, you know, you can do it too. He has a lot of just really cool moments. And he also, I'm gonna be honest, Lewis Hamilton is cool as fuck. Okay, Lewis Hamilton is cool as shit. And every time he's on that podium in that Mercedes suit, and it's just it's something was so cool and it felt so like that guy up there. It was motivating to see, and it's just like it felt like, you know, you were watching history be made every time he got in that car, and seeing that end now, even if he has the success with Ferrari again, it will never be as emotional if he did that with Mercedes one more time. I think
Yeah.
it'd be cool, but it's gonna be a lot of taintedness by like, oh, does Leclerc deserve it? Does he deserve it? You know, if he went with Mercedes one more time, one more, I should say, championship caliber season with Mercedes, that would have been the poetic ending that I think we all kind of wanted subtly. I never wanted Lewis to get more than Schumacher, but one more with
Me
Mercedes after
neither.
years of struggle would have been insane. And obviously, it wasn't going that direction. He had to make a best career or decision for his career before he hangs it up. But I do think if Ferrari is not competing for championships 2 years down the line, we might be seeing the end of Lewis Hamilton's career soon, but not yet.
I remember watching the 21 season, and I remember really, 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 really rooting for Max.
Because I just wanted something
Like,
different.
I just wanted the underdog to win, 100%. And it's just like I remember as it happened in Abu Dhabi, and as Max passed, and I got up and I was like celebrating and I was screaming, and it was just like I was really happy. And now I kind of look back and I'm like,
You know what?
no,
If I knew,
it should have been Hamilton.
if I knew, looking back at it, that Max was gonna win the next three, I would have let. Not that it fucking matters what I would have wanted, but I would have let it happen. All right, no, I would have cheered for Hamilton.
It should have gone to him, respectfully.
It would have been a cool ending, and now I think it's kind of tainted by that a little bit.
Yeah, yeah,
But no, I think that just Mercedes and Lewis, like that poetic ending of what could have been breaking Schumacher's record, looking back, would have been pretty fucking awesome. And it's unfortunate that he lost looking back, but not only that, that he lost in such a weird controversial way.
yeah.
So
I think so too. But
um
thinking about losing, we're losing some drivers. That was such a weird transition. But we do have we do have some people leaving the
oh,
sport.
rest in peace, Kev
Uh,
Magnussen. How you will be
Rest
missed.
in peace, Kevin
Dude, I'm actually
Magnussen.
gonna miss
Oh,
Kevin Magnussen. I love Kevin Magnussen.
you will be missed for all your dive bombs
And he's definitely gone. Like,
and
let's
all
be honest. That
you.
guy doesn't. I don't think that guy even wants another seat. Like, I think he's just done. I don't think he.
I think he's just done.
I don't
There
think
was a
he
really
wants.
really cute video with his daughter though.
Mm-hmm.
In I think it was Monaco, I believe. Someone was trying to get their notebook signed, and his daughter was like right behind him on her like little scooter, and K-Mag went by the person with the notebook, and the daughter actually, I think it was a girl, she saw her, and she then like she went on her little like scooter to K-Mag, and then as he was trying to leave after signing something, she was like tugging him by his shirt to get him to sign the person's notebook, and then he actually turned around and actually did it, which was actually absolutely
That's awesome.
adorable.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
No, Kevin Magnussen's sweet. Valtteri Bottas is leaving. Valtteri is one of those guys that has had a interesting career. Um, he had
yeah,
that top seat and just will always be overshadowed by Hamilton. But he was consistent. He did what he needed to do in the Mercedes. I think it's unfortunate how his career ends, and I still stand by the fact that that could have honestly been a decent move for Red Bull since he was available. Um, but he never definitely was never gonna like win a championship. He was never a championship caliber driver, but he was decent enough for what it was worth. So rest in peace, Valtteri Bottas. You'll be
They're fucking dying. They're not dying.
you we miss dearly. It's like Kimi Räikkönen to me is dead right now. Like that guy, that guy is not active.
Joe,
Gone for now. I'm a little like I don't know.
do
I
you
could
think it was enough, that one showing?
no, not necessarily, but I do think
He might come back, just not next season.
like it just to me seems like a good move. I mean, he was never like Logan Sargent. He was never like crashing into the barrier all the time.
Yeah, but like he was, I mean,
But
he just about
that car was
outscored
dog
Logan
shit.
Sargent.
Yeah, but like the Sauber was a lot worse than the Williams.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's tricky. I I don't think a lot of drivers are scoring points in that fucking Sauber. I mean, let's
I don't
be
think so
honest for
either.
a second. Valtteri Bottas again proved that he would finish on the podium consistently in a competitive car. He did just that. That same guy was not scoring a single point in that Sauber.
Yeah.
So
I guess, yeah.
I'm just saying like he was next alongside a proven veteran and wasn't like losing by dramatic margins or anything. They just sucked. That car was not good. So I could just see maybe Cadillac when they come into the sport, maybe seeing a little opportunity. But for now, definitely the end of Joe's career. And also his helmet. We didn't acknowledge it because the video it was posted after we recorded, but his helmet was
Yeah.
sweet.
His helmet was really cute.
Really cute. And I like the way he's gone out too. He hasn't made a big showing out of it. He did do a donut, which is cool. I like Joe. I don't know. I'm kind of sad his career is ending right now, if it is, because I don't think he's ever gotten the shot that we got to see to judge his talent. He's just been in
I
a
guess.
shit box his entire career.
True. True. True.
Like like there's a difference between being in like a Haas or something that can occasionally pull out a point, and then being in that Sauber, which was just dead last every single weekend, like in,
God. He's like the zoo animal you feel bad for.
dude. I just like, God, give the guy one more shot. I don't know. I like Joe. I like Joe. He's
Yeah.
he's a fun guy. He's also got great style. I like seeing him on the grid with his outfits. He's got a cute cat. He just kind of does his own thing. A lot of respect for Joe Guan Yu.
True. True.
Who else? Is that it?
Yeah, we had some predictions. This is we have to wrap up the predictions. Not obviously not counting together. That's going to be next time.
Okay? I
But
was
we
gonna
do
say
have to talk about how the predictions went.
because I don't know the answer to that yet. I kind of forgot.
I don't know that either. But I kind of like that. Kind of like that.
Okay, so for this weekend, I predicted that Lewis Hamilton would finish on the podium. Did not happen, but almost did. So it wasn't a terrible prediction. It almost happened. I think I should get half. No, I'm just kidding. No, but I thought he'd finish on the podium. Honestly, it was mostly a sentimental prediction, but it did not happen. My other prediction was that 2 McLarens were going to be on the podium, which would have happened had it not been for
Did not happen.
Max Verstappen. And my other prediction would be Yuki Tsunoda finishing in the points, which did not happen.
Bro went 0 for 0.
And it's funny because like all those predictions, like they didn't end up being like awful. They just like something went wrong. Yuki had a decent qualifying.
Fair. Fair.
Like it wasn't terrible. It was just unfortunate sequence of events. Not my fault. I'm too good to have anything be my fault. So
always Drive to Survive fans, man.
Oh, bro, here it comes. Here it comes.
For this weekend, I have predicted that McLaren will be world champion constructors, which did happen. So Next prediction was that Haas would be nicking Alpine in the championship, which sadly did not happen. I mean, it was kind of like unrealistic, I will say. It was close, but it
Big
didn't
gap.
happen.
They did. The
And
Haas
then
did have a good race
lastly,
though.
yeah, they did, yeah. Lastly, I predicted that Sergio Perez will have an amazing send-off, a sentimental send-off without any points, which did happen. So I won 2 out of 3, which I'm pretty happy with. Perez
Yeah.
losing his drive
Yeah, I think you beat me in
as
predictions though.
he's
We haven't
running
counted them
around.
yet, but I think you beat me for the year.
I don't know. Singapore's really, really, really strong for you. So we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah. Well, if there's any final statement I have for the 2024 Formula One season, it's that some things never change. And Lance Stroll still has a Formula One seat for 2025. So we still have some work to do.
Don't mess up the Stroll fan.
We still have some
Don't
work
annoy
to
him.
do. Yeah, true. All right. Well, thank you guys for listening to this kind of emotional send off to the 2024 Formula One season. We will be coming back probably with more like once a week uploads at least until the season starts again. We'll get back on our regular in-season schedule, but we'll definitely take some time to not do 2 or 3 episodes a week sometimes, and just focus on getting one, maybe we'll integrate some games, some livery ratings when those start coming out. Just figure out what the fuck we're gonna talk about. It might be a little shorter. We're out of topics, so we gotta figure it out. Maybe try and
I'll
figure out
make it work.
some guests or something we can get on here.
Jake will come soon.
Jake will be back soon. And discussing a little bit more about the Formula 2 season. But yeah, thank you guys for listening. Make sure you follow us on Spotify, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, all the places. And goodbye.
Goodbye. Goodbye.